Hello, Sam here. Just putting the schedule at the front of the podcast so that if you turn off when you get spoilers, you still know what's coming up. In about 2 weeks' time, we'll be looking at two five-issue comic miniseries: Princess Leia by Mark Waid from 2015 and Chewbacca by Jerry Duggan from 2015. Then, in about a month, we'll be looking at the 2015 novel Heir to the Jedi by Kevin Herron. I hope you enjoy the show.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
Bam, ba-da-bam, ba-da-bam, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-bam.
8 years after the fall of the Old Republic, the Galactic Empire now reigns over the known galaxy. Resistance to the Empire has been all but silenced. Only a few courageous leaders, such as Bail Organa of Alderaan, still dare to openly oppose Emperor Palpatine. After years of defiance, the many worlds at the edge of the Outer Rim have surrendered. With each planet's conquest, the Empire's might grows even stronger. The latest to fall under the Emperor's control is the isolated mountain planet, Jellucan, whose citizens hope for a more prosperous future even as the Imperial Starfleet gathers overhead.
Hello, and welcome to Crashing the Starfighter, a Star Wars book club podcast where only one of the hosts bothers to read anything. I'm Sam,
And I'm Emily.
and today we are looking at Lost Stars,
Woo.
a young adult novel first published on the 4th of September 2015 as part of the Journey to the Force Awakens publishing line. It was written by Claudia Grey, her first Star Wars book, and is the sixth canon book, the first young adult one. How are you doing, Emily?
I'm good, yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty good. I just ate a lot of strawberry pencils before this.
I know I was there, in spirit.
I know you were there. It's because you were trying to start the recording and I was going, hang on, I had another bite because I didn't know when to
Yep.
stop.
That's your problem, Emily. When it comes to strawberry pencils, you never know when to stop.
I'm a fiend for strawberry pencils. What can I say?
You are a complete fiend. How are you doing? How's life?
It is what it is. We've only just gone back to work, so
Mhm.
a lot of stuff needs doing. You know, in life when a lot of stuff needs doing.
All Too Well, the song by Taylor Swift.
Incredible.
The 10-minute version, of course, because there is just so much
Wait, there's a
that you need the
10-minute
10
Taylor
minute.
Swift song?
There's a 10-minute version of All Too Well.
Whoa.
There's even a short film made to it. I think directed by Taylor Swift, and one of the stars is Sadie Sink from Stranger Things.
Really? I love her.
Yep. That
Oh,
might be
that's
one for
pretty
you to
cool.
check out after this.
I might actually, I might actually check that out. I'm not the biggest Taylor Swift person, but that sounds cool.
I like how we're not even for the intro of the first episode and have already brought up Taylor Swift.
This is the Star Wars podcast.
Yep, but is it really a podcast if you don't have Taylor Swift tangents?
That's fair enough. Can I ask you a question before we begin?
You can. We've already begun, but go for it.
No, I mean before we properly begin. Um,
Yep.
did I pronounce the planet, the isolated mountain planet? Did I pronounce the name of that planet right? Because I'm not sure if I did.
There are a lot of words in the Star Wars galaxy that you just see written down. So personally, I say it Jellican.
I think I said it Jellycan.
Yep, but I don't think it's worth flaming over.
That's fair enough. I just wanted to know if I'd said it in a very funny way, but maybe we'll get some comments if I have.
Before we start properly, I would like to save a quiz answer from the question at the end of last episode.
Okay.
And as a reminder, the question was, what does BBY stand for?
Yes. Would you like me to give an answer?
Yep, go for it.
I think it stands for Big Beautiful Yoda.
Oh, you're so close. So close. So BBY stands for Before Battle of Yavin, and ABY stands for After Battle of Yavin.
Oh, I think I actually have heard of this. That's bad.
A lot of the timeline in the Star Wars galaxy is based around the Battle of Yavin, as you know, it was the first film to come out. It's the big central event. So that is the timeline we'll be using whenever we need to use a timeline.
That's very informative, actually.
It's one that like they have in the beginning of books. Even Andor on the like location screens sometimes had a BBY date on it.
I'll see now. If I'd have seen Andor, if I'd have bothered to watch Andor before we began this, then maybe I would have been able to answer.
Again, it just says it no context. My dad was very confused by what BBY meant
Oh.
because there's no context, just says it.
It's like BC, isn't it?
It's weird for like for Star Wars calendar would pick it up as an actual dating system, though, when you think about it, considering it was a small battle that barely anyone was at.
There were definitely bigger battles. Like, come on now.
So, Emily, what are your thoughts on the crawl you just read?
So I like the fact that my guy Bail Organa, he got a shout out, which is cool because he's a very, very cool dude. There's a new planet that I've never heard of before in here. Obviously, I don't even know how to say it, so I'm not sure who that is. So it's nice to see
There's always a new planet.
there's always a new planet in like everything, because that's cool. And I think, judging by what's in here, I'm assuming that this is to tie in with the last segment. This is BBY, so this would be before A New Hope, I think,
Yep,
for sure.
the story starts at 11 BBY, so 11 years before episode 4, about 8 years after Anakin's fall.
So the little babbies will be 8 as well.
Yep, Luke and Leia will be around 8 years old at this time.
Oh,
I am now going to cut to my spoiler-free review of this, in case anyone listening wants to read this. There's a lot to enjoy about Star Wars Lost Stars, especially how it works as a kind of recap of the original trilogy, going through the greatest hits of those 3 films. It's very young adult at points. In fact, I'd say that the pros kind of age along with the characters. So when they're young, it's very kid friendly. From when they're teenage years, it falls into your more tropey adult era. And adult, it gets a bit more adult. The biggest selling point is the cast of characters. There are a few characters you know and will recognize who turn up throughout the reading time, but mostly it focuses on a new crew who are just all delightful to read, and especially the main duo. I would say that the thing that holds this book back the most is how it shifts perspectives and how regularly it shifts perspectives. There's a bit of mystery lost by this writing choice, but I still think overall it's a book I would recommend, especially if you're newer to Star Wars New Canon or if you're a younger reader. Okay, so are you ready to begin our adventure into Lost Stars?
I'm ready. I'm excited.
It starts off with a prologue, and I'm going to give you some background on the planet Jellican. It's an outer rim planet along the Hadian Way, and it has 2 types of people living on it. The first Wavers, who arrived about 500 years ago in exile after they refused to betray their king. To them, loyalty and honor is kind of like a religion, and they came and lived in valleys, breeding livestock and living off the land.
Hey, they sound intense.
Yep. Around 350 years later,
hmm
some second Wavers come, and they're all about mining. They set up in the mountains, they start mining, and they're all about making a profit.
So they back in the mine.
They're back in the mine, got their hydrospanners
Sorry.
swinging from side to side. And because of this, there's a big class divide of like the wealthy mountain people and kind of they're not natives, but they were there first. And because they're not part of the economy, they are kind of second class citizens to an extent.
Okay. So they're not like they're not the native people of this planet. They also
Yep.
came here as well.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
These 2 communities, of course, do not get along because we never do. And another detail is that in the Clone Wars, Jellican supported the Separatist Alliance.
Okay.
So that's why it's taken a bit longer for the Empire to get to them.
Okay.
As we learn in this book a little bit, even though Palpatine orchestrated the whole Clone Wars, he managed to use the fact that the Separatists were the losers as a way to kind of just turn his back on Separatist worlds for a good few years and not worry about them, not give them resources, and just leave them to kind of perish, so that when the Empire comes in, they will seem like saviors.
See, Sheev really thinks of everything, doesn't he? He's so good.
Yep.
Well, no, he's bad, but like, you know what I mean.
He's a master tactician.
He's good at what he does.
Playing against nobody.
Yeah. How did he lose? Who could say?
Now we're going to meet our 2 main characters and their families. First of all, we have
Hey.
Thane Kyrell, currently aged 8. He's a second Waver, and he's a big fan of the Imperial starships. In fact, his family are walking to the capital city of Valentia because there's the big Imperial speech. They've just been colonized. All the starships are there, and he swears he can hear a Lambda-class shuttle. He can just identify it from the sounds.
He really is into Starship.
Big Star Wars fan, really. He has an older brother called Dalvin, who is a real bully.
Oh,
He's 12, he wants to be an Imperial pilot, and he's just instantly just. You don't know about shippers by the sound. You're lying, Thane.
oh, what a dick.
Then he has Oris, his dad, who is a bit abusive towards him.
Oh, that sucks.
He definitely sees Dalvin as the favourite, takes Dalvin's side, and then there's Ganari, who is their mother, who kind of just doesn't want a part of it.
She's done.
Doesn't pick a side between the two brothers. She's just not interested.
Unbiased queen.
We also meet Sienna Ree, who's a first waver, and her family are on the back of a creature. I can't remember its name. It's a munyak.
Ooh.
It's kind of like a bantha, but horned.
And they're like
So they're coming up from the valleys.
they're like chill as well because they're on one of them's back.
They're like the family pet / mount.
Oh,
And her family are on the way to Valentia to see the same Imperial procession. In fact, as they're going, Sienna can swear she hears a Lambda-class shuttle.
funny that.
Just from the sound, she can't see it, but she swears she hears one. You have her mother, Vereen, and her dad, Perrin. And as I said, these are first waivers. To them, honor is everything.
Mm.
Her family are personally spiritual, believing in the Force. And Sienna also occasionally says, "See through my eyes," which is kind of one of the mysteries early on in this book.
Why did she say that?
Maybe we'll find out.
Ooh.
Both these families get to Valentia, and there's a big Imperial procession. There's Star Destroyers over the top, and there's a big speech happening given by Wilhoff Tarkin himself.
Oh my god, the man, the myth, the legend.
He's here.
Whoa.
So he gives his speech about, how great it is to welcome another planet into the Empire, how the Empire is stronger together, and how we will definitely help you and weren't responsible for your bad luck in the past.
Huge Tory vibes.
After his speech, Fane's parents just go off to mingle with the elites. They're second waivers, they have money, they have a status. They leave Dalvin to look after Fane. Dalvin not interested and Steve goes off with his friends, so Fane takes the opportunity to sneak off to a hangar to try and find the Lando shuttle he heard. He goes into this hangar and sees a bunch of other second wave kids surrounding this first waver gal, and he does the smart thing and stands up for her, and they both get beaten on.
Doesn't sound like the smart thing to do.
They try to fight, but it's 2 against a few, so they don't have the numbers. But then the other kids run away because stormtroopers arrive behind them, led by Tarkin himself.
Whoa!
This was Tarkin's Lambda-class shuttle all along, and he's talking to them. He's saying things like, it's not smart to get into fights you can't win.
Tarkin stuff.
Fane's like, yep. Fane kind of hints that they knew that if they made enough noise, people would come. Tarkin's like, very tactitious of you. He talks to them. He quizzes them on the shuttle. And after he finds out they know their stuff, he asks what they want to be when they're older. They both say they want to be Imperial pilots. And Tarkin has a great line where he turns to one of his stormtroopers and he goes, "You see, sometimes the law is better than the lash."
Ooh.
Tarkin's got big hunter vibes. He knows what he's doing. But now, Fane and Sienna both have this dream of going to the Imperial Academy, being pilots. And they have this blossoming friendship.
That's sweet. I love the fact that Tarkin came in just to do some Tarkin things and then fucked off.
Yep, Tarkin got a Tarkin.
He got a Tarkin. He came in and he just said some very, very Tarkin-esque shit. And then just dipped completely.
Yep. We now cut to 5 years later. And Sienna and Fane regularly train together. They both want each other to do well. They both want each other to go to the Imperial Academies. They both want to serve the Empire. Sienna's family doesn't have money, but Fane's does, so she sneaks up to his house on the mountain. Dalvin's gone to the academy at this point, so they use his old shuttle to train in. They go to their little hideout called the Fortress, which is a little place in a cave. Fane has some of his handy-down rich boy stuff, like a games console and
He's got an Xbox up there?
He has an Xbox.
He's got an Xbox up in the cave. They're gonna go play.
He has his Xbox Series in the main house. So he's brought his Xbox One into the into the little cave.
Oh yeah, so the poor girl can play.
Sienna from the Valley also brings things, but hers are like a rug that her family made,
That's not
or
as cool.
rocks she's arranged.
Oh god.
Look, I think we describe it as like he brings the cool stuff, but she's the person who like makes it feel homey.
Oh, she makes it like homely, yeah. That's big Ray energy, I think. Ray, I think, would also bring a bunch of rocks in and just arrange them.
Definitely. It's at this point, Thane asks Sienna what "see through my eyes" actually means, and we find out, first mystery solved, that Sienna was a twin,
Oh,
but her sister didn't survive long.
huh.
Because of this, she has a little bracelet she wears to remember her sister, and when she says "see through my eyes," that is a way for her sister to see through her, part of her spirituality.
So is it like a legit thing, like an actual thing, or is it just like a spiritual belief kind of thing? And it's not really substantiated whether her sister actually, like, can see through her eyes.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
it's that kind of thing.
Huh.
It's also at this point, so 5 years later, so they're now what, both 13,
Hmm.
that Sienna starts looking at Thane and thinking, huh, he's my friend, but
Oh, well, damn.
he's also looking a bit studdy. By the way, if you go into your pack, there is a picture of these two.
There is. Hang on. I'm gonna have a look.
When we're a bit older, just so you can get a vibe from both.
Oh, they're cute. They're really cute, actually, in this picture.
But when we cut to 3 years later, so we're now 16, and it's announced who's going to win. Who's going to win?
Who's going to win Star Wars?
They've stressed for the tests. Thane managed to sneak his tutor droid out into the cave. The tutor droid's really sarky. It's like, not even you like learning math, so
Oh,
why
his
aren't they going to
tutor
teach the other
droid.
person who... Yeah, he has a tutor droid. He's a rich boy tutor droid.
I was
He's
like, what
homeschooled.
is a tutor droid? And then I was like, oh, no way. Hang on.
Like a nanny, but like it's got a new program in, so it can just teach maths and things.
Oh, that's pretty sick, actually.
And they both managed to pass their tests, and they're both, of course, going to the most prestigious academy, the Royal Imperial Academy on Coruscant.
Ooh. See, that's a big step up.
From this middle of nowhere mining planet, straight to the capital of the galaxy.
So we're already off Jellican.
Yep, I mean, you say we're already off. How many years have passed?
That's
8 years have passed.
Yeah, but we didn't personally spend 8 years on Jellican. We didn't follow them every single day. I don't know how many chapters in we are right now.
Oh, we're like
I don't think.
4 or 5.
Yeah, but how long is the book?
29.
Let's see. There we go. We didn't spend that long on Jellican, unless we come back. I don't know.
This book really has a pace to it.
Ooh,
It kind of does like greatest hits of their life, for better or worse.
I kind of appreciate that though.
These two arrive on Coruscant, and weirdly enough, Thane is almost overwhelmed, and Sienna justifies this as it was always her dream to be in the Imperial Navy, whereas Thane's only dream was to not be on Jellican anymore.
He didn't like it there.
I mean, his family were dicks.
Oh yeah, his family were dicks. Yeah, you're a good point. Well, his mom didn't seem like a dick. Although actually, she's part of the problem if she's not doing anything.
Inaction is itself an action.
This is true, actually, yeah.
And because they're now at the academy, they both get cool roommates. So Thane is sharing a dorm with Zed Foslo,
Wow, that
a
is
Coruscant native and General's son.
that's a good name.
And his first line, "Have you never been to a real city before?" He's just constantly like belittling this off-worlder who came from a mining town, thinks he's better because, he was born in the capital.
But like Coruscant is all city, so like I don't
Not
get
really the best
that.
example of a real city.
No, it's just all city, all of it.
Yep. And his other roommate is Nash Windrider,
Oh, that's an even better name.
who's from Alderaan and is constantly talking about how beautiful it is.
Oh no.
He can't wait to take Fame there someday.
Oh no. Someday 11 years from now.
What are you all knowing? Also 3 years from now.
Oh yeah, I
Spoilers.
forgot. It's time jump. Well, I sure hope
Yep.
that Nash Windrush Rider he isn't in a hurry to go home that much.
Well, he has a 3-year course at his academy,
Oh, thank God.
so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's a bit touch and go.
So Sienna is sharing with Kendi Adele, who's from Illo, which is kind of like a summer beach planet.
Oh, nice.
I imagine it's like a tropical getaway.
Mm.
and also Jude Advion, who's from Bespin and is like the nerdy character.
There's
And
always got to be one.
one of her first lines is, "It seems our personalities are compatible,"
Oh
and
no.
literally just all about the numbers, all about the data. Maybe my favorite character.
Oh, okay.
They go to a big meeting. All the new recruits are lined up, and it's mentioned that there are 8,000
Fucking hell.
that start off in the first year,
In the first
which
year?
is an insane number.
My God.
Yep. But it drops very quickly as students either drop out or are expelled.
How many people are being expelled that it contributes significantly to this number?
I mean, this is like the top academy in the galaxy, so the
Okay.
standards are very high.
But I bet they let the rich kids like get away with murder.
It's also around this time that Thane runs into Delvin, his brother,
Oh no.
and even though his brother wrote home about being like, oh yeah, I've already been promoted, I'm flying fights every day, it turns out he just has a desk job.
Ooh, this is juicy.
But that's just like a little check-in with him, and now he won't be mentioned again for a while.
See you, Delphin.
So during their classes, Thane and Sienna, top of the class, just trading that top spot, much to everyone else's disdain. We don't understand how these two are so good at everything, and that's always the question with
Main
main characters in
characters.
books.
We had the same reaction.
There's a speeder bike race, and it's their first time flying outside of a simulator. It's like these cool hover bikes. The whole gimmick is that there's these circular holes we have to go through, and we have to fly through all of them as fast as they can. There's no particular order for which one we have to go for first.
Oh.
The winner of this gets 50 points, which Thane and Sienna both know are enough for either of them to get a decent lead on the other, or the other top students to catch up.
Oh, there's a point system
Yep.
involved. This is really, really YA novel. But like, I love YA novels, so like, I'm not saying that derogatively. This is like very YA.
This is like Space Nazi Hogwarts.
Yeah, literally, it's Space Nazi Hogwarts.
Thane gets on his speeder. He has a plan. He's going to go for the furthest goal first, and then come back and get the others on his way back.
Boy, smart. I like that plan.
Starts off the engine, pulls out, goes for furthest one, looks around, and there are other students doing the same. One of which is, of course, Sienna.
Oh no.
They're kind of, neck and neck. One of them's going to have to drop back. It's a game of chicken.
Ooh.
They go, and they both go through the hole at the same point, which is fine, up until they realise that their speeder bikes are now caught together. It's mentioned that like this imbalance could cause them to crash at any time, and these ships are not built for this. But because Sienna and Thane have so much history flying together in Delvin's old ship, they know each other's movements. It's like two brains for the same person. They could pilot a Jaeger together.
They're drift compatible.
And they weave and swerve, and they manage to get through the final thing, win the race.
Just saying, I know this is a YA novel, so they're not going to, but these two are going to have some really good sex later. I just know it.
No comment.
Listen, I'm right. But anyway, carry on.
No comment.
No comment.
They both win, and Zed's really angry about this. He's like, surely they should be disqualified. This isn't the way to pilot. And Fane's shooting back. Well, surely it takes more skill to fly these ships in a way they're not meant to be flown. And the instructor agrees and decides to give both Thane and Sienna 25 points each.
That seems like favoritism.
Which makes Zed very angry.
I would be angry if I was there.
I mean, they did win together.
Yeah, but like, it kind of seems like a bit of a bullshit reason to let them win, to be honest.
I mean, they did well.
Yeah.
I'd say
I won't take it away from them. But it's dangerous driving.
And it's at this point, when celebrating, that Thane starts looking at Sienna and thinking, huh.
It took him a while.
I mean,
fucking hell.
How many years after is this? 3
Yeah,
years after she starts
3
seeing him as
years.
attractive. He looks at her and he's like, well, I mean, we're friends, so I don't think this. But I'm sure other people find her really attractive.
What a cope, dude.
We then go on to another one of their units, which is a laser cannon unit. This is a fun one, because the whole task is to just, from bits you find, build a working laser cannon.
It's fun.
This is like one of Thane's weak subjects, so he's really worried about it. He's staying up late and working on it.
He did not get good grades in laser cannon. maintenance.
But Sienna knows her stuff, so she's purposely picking the worst parts she can to show that even like the worst condition, she could make a laser cannon that would work really well. And also Zed is really good at laser cannons as well.
Oh, good old Zed.
There's a night out coming up after this unit. The recruits get to hit the town for the first time, and Nash is really excited. He's talking to Thane
Ooh.
about like, yo, think of all the girls we're gonna meet. Think of all the fun we're gonna have. Aren't you ready for this, Thane, old buddy? You know, back on Alderaan, I used to get chicks all the time.
Sure, I will for many years to come.
And Thane's like, look, I really can't think about this right now. I just need to get past this unit. I need to work on this laser cannon over time, and it'll all be good.
I just hate it when you've got laser cannon homework and your best friend just wants to go out in the town.
I know, right? Reminds me of uni.
Right?
The inspection comes, and they're going through the line, testing each laser cannon. Tests Sienna's, works perfectly. Instructor doesn't smile at her, but gives an almost smile. And she's like, this is the most emotion we've ever shown. I know I've done well. They go up the line. Zed's also works really well. Gets to Thane's. Doesn't start up at all.
Oh no, Thane.
He's very confused because he's been spending a lot of time on this. He takes the side off and finds there's some wires that have been obviously cut. The tutor goes over to the door. They have like okay, so on Imperial outfits they have these code cylinders kind of like above their rank plaques.
Okay.
And that's like a key to the door.
Oh.
And it's a way to transfer data, and it's also like when you open the door of it.
Wow, that's totally not creepy.
So they go over to this door, they look at who came in last night, and the only person who came in between Thane leaving and this inspection was Sienna.
Oh, the plot thickens.
Sienna's taken to the office to be reprimanded, and Thane knows she couldn't have done it, but at the same time they were neck and neck, and if she wanted to get an advantage on him, this is the unit that, everyone knew he was bad at. This would be the time to, but she didn't, of course.
Would have been cool if she did, though. Anyway,
he gets called to the office as well. In the office, there is him, there is Sienna, and there is Jude. And Jude's done some digging through the logs and found out that it's all fake. Sienna didn't go in the room. It was someone who hacked their cylinder to look like Sienna's.
Oh, interesting.
The person who hacked the cylinder was Thane.
What?
Thane knew he couldn't win this unit.
What?
And tried to frame his friend to get the top spot, or at least that's what the instructors are saying. But there's proof that Sienna could have done it. There's proof that Thane could have done it.
Wait.
It's an advanced hack, but both these students are capable. Because they're not sure who really sabotaged this, they've decided to both the students have failed this unit, so they're now no longer on the top spot. They get out of the office and look at the window, and they both instantly know that neither of them would sabotage the other. And they vow to investigate who is responsible. So they go to the library and start working with Jude, tracing it back as far as they can. But it doesn't go that far. See, after it goes from Sienna to Thane, it goes to this office called the Office of Student Outcomes.
Very Hogwarts.
And Thane's instantly like, oh, of course. They don't want two off-worlders outshining all the Coruscant kids. So they've purposely done this so they can knock us down and make the Coruscant kids look better. He's like, oh, I'm sure some kind of general paid off the school to do this.
If only there was a student here.
It's probably even Zed's dad.
Yeah, I was just about to be like, if only there was one student here who had a general for a father.
And Sienna's like, don't make everything a conspiracy. And Jude's just very helpful, like, well, it is kind of a conspiracy though, when you think about it.
It's not a conspiracy if it's true.
And Thane's getting angry. You think everything the Academy and the Empire does is perfect, Sienna. And Sienna's, she's getting heated too. And you think every authority is awful like your father was. And that's when Thane snaps. Don't mention my father again.
Oh, he's got daddy issues.
And he storms out, and they don't speak again properly for 2.5 years.
No. But he was only just starting to get hots for her.
I know, right?
Damn.
So, 2.5 years later, Thane and Sienna are still both leading their classes. But now they actually want to beat each other. Their kind of friendly rivalry from before is now they both want to show the other up.
Oh, damn.
There's a question about Star Destroyer, about what you would do if a Star Destroyer is breached. And, Thane gives one answer, and he's like, oh, I'd set my ship to self-destruct and then order all crew to get to the escape pods. And Sienna trying to run up him is like, but if the self-destruct fails, I would pilot that Star Destroyer into a sun personally.
Fucking hell.
And everyone's like, whoa!
Whoa, we got a badass here!
And Fane is like kind of shocked that Sienna would give her life to the Empire. His like faith in them is broken now. He can like see the corruption.
Hmm.
Fane hears out the rebels, and he's like, "That's a real overreaction. Like the system has failed, but there are ways to work inside the system to change the system." Fane is walking away one day because he's hit his growth spurts. He needs to get a new uniform, and he sees Sienna crying, and he goes over and consoles her, and she opens up to him again that her old maniac they used to ride together has died.
No.
And for a moment, they're just consoling each other, they're friends again, and then suddenly, on a dime, Sienna just locks him out again.
Oh, for fuck's sake,
And
Sienna.
he's confused because he's like, it's like it's normal, and suddenly she pulls away, and she feels tricked that, after all this time, he pretends to care. She's in the wrong here, basically.
Yeah.
But there is an Imperial Ball coming up.
Oh no, the Yule Ball is happening.
The top students get to go to a ball at the Imperial Palace, which is it was a temple of an old religion, but that's ancient history. It definitely wasn't 20 years ago. So yeah, they're going to the Jedi Temple to have an Imperial Ball.
Ah, yes, an ancient religion which was not wiped out recently.
Ancient.
Ancient.
They're all traitors. It's fine.
And they're
In
all
fact,
dead, actually.
all the way
of them.
back when Thane and Sienna were in their cave, learning together, one of the questions their tutor had asked was like, who was the leader of the insurgents that started the Clone Wars? And the correct answer was Mace Windu. So like Imperial teaching is really on this anti-Jedi train
Oh, because
this
there's some
time.
real revisionist history shit going on here. It's a very funny
Yep.
mental image for me as well. I'm sorry. Starboy Mace Windu.
You could imagine Mace doing it.
I could imagine Mace doing it, and I am, and it's quite funny.
I mean, it starts with him like poking his lightsaber in Count Dooku's back.
Yeah,
That insurgent.
that filthy insurgent.
Sienna is planning to just wear, her like dress uniform to this event. But Jude is like, no. You want to be fancy to this?
Yeah, this is a ball.
Let me use my Bespin money and buy us both fancy dresses. And Sienna's like, she's from this humble village. She doesn't want to own a dress, but she concedes that if Jude wants to rent one for a while, that's allowed. So they head to a ball together, and instantly Sienna looks at this big event and thinks, wow, the money this event cost could like save her planet from all its financial issues.
Coruscant for you.
Then she turns herself around. She decides that, it's down to different cultures to help themselves get stronger. And Coruscant is a big city planet. If Coruscant did share itself with every other world, then that would just cause instability everywhere.
Basically, she's been poisoned by Tory ideology.
Yep.
Oh, girl.
And as part of this ball, they have to do a show dance. They get assigned partners, and they dance together. And who's her first partner? In full dress uniform, Fane, looking pretty fine.
Ooh, he's looking like a bit of a saucy boy.
They're like, doing a little dance when Fane just leans in and goes, "You seem really sure of yourself now." And Sienna, snappy, she thinks this is like going for an insult. She goes, "I am." And Fane replies, "You should be."
Ooh. Ooh. Oh, I've got chills.
And then it's on to the other partners.
We're just gonna move swiftly on from that.
A bit later at the bar, Fane is getting a drink when Sienna appears behind him. They talk a bit. They're starting to reconcile their flaws. Is that something to say?
Reconciling their flaws.
Heal their bonds?
Yeah.
I don't know. Something clever sounding. And it's at this point a very drunk Zed comes over.
Wait, they're serving alcohol?
He's like, "Oh, I can't believe."
Wait, how old are these kids? How old are these kids now?
Like 18 and a half.
Okay, alright, fair enough. I still thought they were like
They're allowed to
16.
drink.
Okay, yes.
No, we've moved on. Zed comes over and he's like, "Oh, I can't believe you fell for the laser cannon thing. Like, honestly, I didn't think it would get you." And Faye's like, I knew your dad had something to do with this." He's like, my dad? My dad didn't have to. It was just the academy. They saw your bond, and part of being part of the Empire is leaving your past behind you. Like, they were worried that you'll put each other before the Empire, so they devised this whole thing to split you up. And this makes Sienna mad.
Well, understandably.
So, I can't remember if she attacks him or not. I think she attacks him.
I kind of love that for her.
Bam! But yeah, he then goes away, and Sienna's like, she still doesn't believe it personally, but she can see where Thane might have got the idea. Maybe she was wrong to go so hard the other way.
Honestly, like, we love this growth for her.
After the ball's over, they stay at the palace and just talk all night. Other people are going off partying. I think Jude goes off with like a group of guys and girls,
Amazing.
and Fane's like, I wonder which one she's after.
Ooh.
And Sienna's like, probably most of them. And
Fly icon.
and they just stand there discussing their futures. So Fane is going to be a TIE pilot, and Sienna is going down the capital ship command track.
Ooh.
It's at this point that Fane asks about her sister, the see through my eyes thing and the bracelet she had to wear, because a bracelet isn't strictly uniform. So if she was wearing it, that'd be violating the Empire, and she's very to the rules.
Ooh.
So no, I'm not wearing it. Like taps her pocket. She's like, I have it on me at all times still though. Don't
Yeah, that
worry.
still counts. You don't have to have it around your wrist, you know?
Yep. So the Envernite friends again, and Fane is like, I can't want to kiss her. I'm gonna no. There'll be time for that later.
Are you fucking worse? There will not be time for that. I can guarantee you, now you've said that, there's not going to be time for that later. I can guarantee it.
So, after graduation, and of course, Finn and Sienna both graduate, they get their listings. Sienna is posted to the Devastator, which is Tarkin's personal Star Destroyer.
Oh my god, is Tarkin coming back?
Let me just check that. Devastator Star Wars. I meant to make a note of this and I didn't, and I'm fairly sure I got it wrong.
See, I think of you as like an infallible law machine. But I suppose you can't be completely up on everything.
Sienna's going aboard the Devastator, which is Vader's personal Star Destroyer. Meanwhile, Thane is going to be posted to this new space station. But, he's like, this is a new space station, that's Vader's Star Destroyer. It's bound to visit there regularly. So he's like excited that he'll get to see Sienna a lot. They promise to stay in contact through the hollows, and then Thane kisses Sienna on the cheek, and they go their separate ways.
On the cheek, my guy.
So Sienna is on the Devastator, and it's chasing a blockade runner, which apparently has Princess Leia on it.
Oh.
I didn't mention this at the time, but Nash is a big Princess Leia fanboy, because Alderaan.
Because obviously.
And at the Imperial Ball, Thane got to dance with Princess Leia.
Yo.
He's like, she's not speaking much. She seems like she has something on her mind, but he doesn't question it. Young senator, she probably has a lot of things on her mind.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they're chasing this blockade runner, and they catch it. After this, Sienna runs into Nash, who is also with Devastator, and he's disappointed that she seems to be hanging out with these rebels, but he still believes in her and thinks she has like a good reason to be doing so. Sienna, she has to take the report of this little skirmish up to the captain of the ship, and she goes into his office, and as she's going to leave, a holo comes on, and it's Tarkin's big holographic face.
Always what you want to see.
Tarkin has a little chat with her. She kind of pauses, and he's like, "Have you got something to say?" Well, actually, you're the reason I joined the Imperial Academy. Like, you came to my planet years ago, and you spoke to me and this other kid, and he's like a really good starfighter pilot now. This is all pretty rad. And Tarkin's like, "Oh, really?" And he's really glad to hear the effect that he's had shaping young minds into the Empire.
It's really funny to me.
At this point, the Devastator is scheduled to dock at the space station Thane was stationed at, called the Death Star. Nice and friendly.
Yeah, nice and friendly.
Thane, is excited about this. He's excited that he's going to get to see her, so he takes overtime to make sure he can get a full day off with her. The Devastator docks, and he's like in a hangar bay, maintenancing TIE fighters, and suddenly, he feels the Death Star comes out of hyperspace.
Oh.
It's a space station. It moving is one of its cool features. And then suddenly the hangar bay doors open, and over the loudspeaker, there's this big announcement about how the planet we're looking out the window is Alderaan. It's like, oh wow, Nash is on the Devastator. He's going to be here. We always talked about how we'd come here together, and now we kind of have. Maybe like on my day off, we can all go down to Alderaan. And then the planet's gone.
Yeah. Nash, I'm sorry.
The speakers were like, the traitors have been destroyed.
Did he not know that there was a laser on the Death Star?
Yeah, but it's just a deterrent, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it was just a deterrent. Did he not question about the fact that it's called the Death Star?
Yeah, it's propaganda.
I mean, what can I say?
Sienna is walking through the hallways and finds Nash, and he's very shaken by this.
I mean,
so she kind of sneaks him through the halls back to his dorm, because she knows if anyone sees him showing any emotion, they will count it as weakness towards the Empire.
I mean, I'm glad that my guy wasn't on the planet. I thought that for sure that he was going to die on the planet.
No, he's good. He's good. Sienna then meets up with Jude, and they discuss what's happened. You know, they're talking about it. I'm like, well, rebels were getting more aggressive, and if this planet of millions being destroyed stops a war which could kill billions, then it's kind of worth it.
Jesus, the fucking mental gymnastics that are being done.
And they're both like, what was done wasn't right, but you know, it was for the greater good.
For the greater good.
There's an alert, the Devastator's crew is being called away. Vader's staying on the planet, but the Devastator's got to go somewhere. Meanwhile, Thane, his day off is cancelled. Him and his squad are being sent to Dantooine to look for a rebel base.
God, I hate toxic employers.
I know, right?
I know. He probably had that booked in for weeks as well. He's like, why did you put me on the rotor? You knew about this.
Sucks to be him. No, he goes to Dantooine and he's like instantly struck by how big the base they find is. He always heard the rebellion were a small threat, but this base had like a hangar, it had like bunks for hundreds.
Wow.
The rebellion is more organized than the Empire would ever let on.
It's that propaganda.
And like while he's here, he's thinking about Alderaan and what happened. And while before he used to think he'd give his life for the Empire, he's now thinking he'll do his 5-year term and then get out.
That really is like the getting a new job experience, isn't it?
Yep. You're locked into this contract, but after that, we'll give you some good benefits. You'll probably want to stay anyway.
It's like you go in there and you're just like, yeah, I like it here. This is really nice, and I get paid pretty well. Yeah, this is great. I think I'll think about sticking around here. I'll go up the ladder. And then like a year passes and you're like, I'm getting out of here at the first opportunity that I can. This sucks.
Yep. So Sienna is on the Devastator, and on the screens they're cued into the Death Star's system. And the Death Star is orbiting the planet of Yavin. It's about to get this shot on the moon, which is apparently what the rebel base is. They're watching it, you know, getting close to the lineup.
It's about to get ABY.
Watching, they realise that the rebels sent some small single-person starfighters up. Wow, the rebels really are pathetic here. This is their best defense. They're getting wiped out. They see that Vader's in a TIE fighter himself. They're like, this is over. And it was over because suddenly all communication from the Death Star went blank.
Oh no.
They're really confused about what happened. They know the Death Star couldn't have been destroyed. So it's just, what have rebels done to mess communications up on this level?
Yeah.
And Sienna is sent on a special mission with Beresi San, who is a graduate from the Imperial Academy on Lothal, which is a planet which will be important in other things. And their mission is to go to where the Death Star was and collect Lord Vader. This is confusing, because surely there are plenty of ships where the Death Star was. Why do they need to send a ship from the Devastator just on this mission? Why isn't the Devastator itself going there? She goes on this mission, arrives in Yavin, and is just shocked by the debris, realizes what's happened, and is just horrified. Alderaan was one thing, but the Death Star was a moon-sized space station. It was hollow. There were rooms and buildings going all the way through that thing, so the amount of deaths are comparable on both. Alderaan was meant to stop this war, but now the rebellion have fought back.
It's almost like violence begets violence or something.
But they collect Vader.
They collect Vader. They just scoop him up.
Beresi's like, you can go back and welcome him. I've met him before. He likes me, for sure. Have fun. So Sienna does. She's never met Vader before. She's excited. And she sees this big black armor and life support system. And she feels the darkness and is just traumatized.
Whoa. Oh, God.
Back on the Devastator, she's going back to her dorm. She needs to recover. And she runs into Nash, who has like cut his hair. He used to have it long and proud in the Alderaan way. But now he has kind of a military buzz cut.
Oh, no.
And he's like, you know what? My people were traitors. The Empire is my family.
Oh, dude. This is a complete trauma response.
Yep. And during all this, in the back of Sienna's mind, she doesn't know what's happened to Thane. She knows he was going off on a mission, but did he get back to the Death Star? Was he on it when it exploded?
I hope not.
No, of course not.
No. I was about to say we're probably not that near to the end of the book.
He was still on Dantooine when the news came through, so he had to wait a week just to get redeployed. and his team are getting called back to the Devastator just to instantly get shifted off to another planet called Kevin.
He hasn't got his day off yet.
He only had an hour on the Devastator, and he wanted to see Sienna in this time. So the shuttle lands, he's like panicking, this is a big ship, how's he gonna? The doors go down and she's standing right there.
Convenient. I was about to be like, how do you find someone on a Star Destroyer?
She knew he was coming.
No.
So they find a secluded hallway together, and they're talking about it, and they're like, what happened last week? That was awful. And it's like, yeah, it was horrific. Berisi comes over and she's like, we have shifts. And Sienna's like, cover for me, I'll be a bit late. Berisi's like, okay. Wink.
Okay. Wink, wink.
And before Thane gets shift off, Sienna says, we'll be together again. I don't know where. I don't know where or when.
Don't know where, don't know when.
We'll
Me
be together again. Don't know where. Don't know when. And Thane replies, I'll find you. And then, finally, Thane pulls up his big boy pants, leaves her a smack on the lips.
Whoa!
A kiss, not a smack. And,
he just punches her.
just punches her square in the jaw.
We'll meet again soon.
She's shocked. Thane's new mission is literally, on this spice world, he has to fly his TIE low over populated areas to scare the locals. He doesn't like it per se, but he likes the flying.
Oh, okay.
But he's also like, just disassociating. He's like 5 years, then I'll be free. And he's walking around one day, and he sees the slaves being forced to work on this planet to mine the spice. And he sees this one slave just being beaten up by some stormtroopers. And there's a child around 8 years old seeing this and cheering the Empire on. And this moment he like sees himself.
That was you, my dude, yeah.
Sort of like strength of the Empire. I'm just cheering for, oh yeah, that's a Lando class shuttle, I'm so excited.
Oh.
He can't stand it anymore. He wants to stand up for the slaves, but he knows if he does, he'll be put on a list.
Yeah.
He feels completely powerless, and that's when he decides to give Sienna a call.
My dude, you did promise that you'd see her again. So you're just gonna call her up and just be like, yeah, you know that promise I made to you like an hour ago?
I mean, he calls her up, and they're very vague because he doesn't want to be too specific. But he's like, that explosion was awful, wasn't it? She's like, yeah, I can't sleep because of how horrific I found it. He's like, well, maybe I'll be seeing you again soon. And she's like, yep, definitely. So he takes all his money out of his account, buys some clothes to blend in, and they like basically describe what Han Solo usually wears as like generic Star Wars clothing.
Generic Star Wars clothing.
It's like loose shirt and the waistcoats and
that's a generic fit for sure.
And he gets on the first transport he can and leaves Imperial service.
Good for him.
And he goes straight to Jellican.
Hey!
Because he's like, that's the one place that Sienna would also know to go to. Once he arrives, he can't believe how much it's changed. Like, Valentia used to be this shining jewel of a world. But now it's basically a shanty town. There's a smog in the air from the Imperial mining machines. You can't tell the difference between the first and second waves anymore, because all their outfits are just grubby.
Oh.
And he goes to a local inn and he rents a room and just spends his days drinking.
Oh, fuck.
Sienna got my message. She knows I deserted. She'll be here soon.
Oh.
Constantly scared of the Empire tracking him down. And one night, an Imperial shuttle pulls out right outside the inn. And he listens at the door. He hears this person going inside and then eventually coming upstairs and coming to his room.
Oh no.
He's getting ready to fight.
Oh.
When they knock on the door. And, if they're coming to arrest him, they wouldn't knock on the door, bang it down. So he opens it, and who's there but Sienna?
Yo!
He's like, oh, I see what she's done. She's being very clever. She's found a way to trick the Empire into lending her a shuttle to come here, so now they can run away together. I paid for my escape, but she got the Empire to pay for hers. Now we're going to have to come collect their shuttle. This is genius. But she quickly makes it clear that she's still loyal to the Empire. When we were talking about a horrific explosion, while Thane was talking about Alderaan, she was talking about the Death Star. Jude was on the Death Star when it exploded. So she is...
Oh, fuck, really?
So she's very, traumatized about that. Her, best friend just being gone.
Damn.
And,
yeah, that's messed up.
Sienna says, the war has begun. All I want to do is fight on the side of law, order, and stability.
For my new empire.
And basically, what Thane realizes that her people's religion is basically honor. Her deserting the Empire would be breaking her bond to them. So
Mm,
she is like religion bound to now serve these people.
kind of messed up.
So Fane asks, so you have to serve them, but are you going to turn me in? And she says, sometimes we are loyal to more than one thing. When there is a conflict, we have to choose which loyalty to honor. And she's like, of course that's you, you big dummy. I'm not going to turn you in. And they head to the bedroom, and a line in the book is literally the world turned upside down,
Whoa!
which it is great because this is like the end of the Battle of Yorktown moment.
Yeah. So they actually is this the good sex?
Fade to black and a bit later.
This is definitely the good sex. Okay, cool.
Fane's talking and he's like, I love you. So like, I love you too. And always have one way or another. And Fane's like, I love you in every way. So he's like, yeah. And she smiles, but it's a sad smile. And that's when she says that she's thought about it and she is going to have to report him to the Imperials.
Fucking hell. Like, she was like, I'm gonna take 5, and then I'm gonna report him afterwards.
But she will give him a week's head start.
Oh, that's messy.
So he gets away.
That's something.
7 months later, he's flying in this cargo ship called the Moa, which stands for the Mighty Oak Apocalypse.
That is a sick name.
Its captain is a Wookiee called Logara. There's an astromech called JJH2.
Oh.
There's a Trussant engineer called Brill.
Hell yeah.
And there's an Ithorian maintenance officer called Mefrot Tan. And basically, for the way Logara hires crew, is she hires for good people, but they're not in it for money, but they want to make a difference. They do like salvage runs.
A real ragtag crew.
And Thane is sent to get parts one day, and he sees a family, including young kids, getting evicted by the Empire. And again, he wants to stand up, but now he's a fugitive from the Empire. Like, Sienna has reported him. He will be on a list. He can't make himself noticeable. So he has to stand down. For contrast, Sienna has ranked up and is now like not in command of a ship, but she has some command. So
Ooh.
she is sent to save this Imperial base from this volcanic planet which is erupting. She saves the Empire and realizes they have room and there's like a civilized area nearby. So she goes there and she tries to pick up some civilians. Managed to save quite a lot using her Imperial power. But when she gets back to the ship, her superior just like rips into her for bending regulations and is like, look, you've got a shining record, so I won't like kick you out, but I'm gonna have to demerit you for this.
No.
And that was the last demerit Sienna would ever get. 11 more months later, we're just flying through the time now. Thane is with Moa, and they have to go through a mega hurricane to get these relief supplies to people in need.
Is that seriously what it's called?
Yep.
Yo, that's kind of cool.
And like Thane's like, he's one pilot, he can't do it alone, but he does this amazing maneuver, manages to land through the mega hurricane safely. And the next day, some other pilots land, and they're also bringing relief supplies. And one of them, their leader, takes an interest in Thane. They swap some stories, and eventually Thane finds out he's talking to this man called Wedge Antilles, who is a pilot
Oh,
for the Rebel
yo!
Alliance.
I know that guy.
Thane is still thinking that the rebels are terrorists at this point, but he's so used to seeing the injustice of the Empire and sick of not being able to do anything that he's tempted to join. So he goes back to Moa, talks to Logara, who gives him the push he needs to rejoin the war for the other side. He's like, do you guys want to join us? Logara's like, the rest of the crew aren't ready yet, but give me some time.
Oh, come on. The rest of the crew sound cool.
Meanwhile, in the Empire world, Vader has been moved away from the Devastator to his new ship, the Super Star Destroyer, the Executor, and he has personally requested that Sienna moves with him.
Ooh.
While everyone's like, wow, you must be so proud of this, Vader personally knowing your name, she personally takes it as, I saw him when he was weak. This is a threat on my life.
I mean, to be fair, it's Vader, so like she's probably fairly right to assume this.
And that's kind of like the halfway point of the book.
Whoa. A lot's happened.
How are you finding it so far?
I'm enjoying it. I really like it. The YA vibes at like kind of the start were immaculate. I loved Space Nazi Hogwarts.
Yep.
Which is amazing. I do like the fact that it has a bit of a range to it, so it can do wizard space Nazi wizard Hogwarts, and then also it can do like kind of like this quite mature stuff as well.
Thane is now serving in Corona Squadron for Rebel Alliance.
Oh my god, he's serving.
So they're on Hoth. The base has just been set up, but the Empire's already found them. So he's pretty annoyed.
I mean, you would be.
He's having to let the Tauntauns go with another rebel called Dak Rattler, who is...
Excuse me?
He's really excited.
Excuse me?
Because he knows in the battle that's about to come, he's flying in a snowspeeder, and he's flying the snowspeeder with Luke Skywalker, the guy who blew up the Death Star, a Jedi Knight himself. And Thane's like, he doesn't believe in the Jedi, he doesn't believe that one guy could take down the Death Star. He was on the Death Star, he saw how big that thing was. He's also in a snowspeeder, and he's got a co-pilot, a Twi'lek called Giendor.
Cool.
Okay, so Thane does this really cool maneuver where, like, he sees that they're shooting the AT-AT, and he flies between its legs, and at the right time, they hit the underbelly and exploded. And Giendor's like, that was a suicide run, and Thane's like, no. I used to slipstream through mountains like this, back home every day.
In gel you can.
And then they see someone using a cable to bring down the legs, and they're like, that's easy, let's do that.
That's a better idea, I think.
They get called back to base, get on the ship, and fly away. And Thane's just thinking about all the resources that have been left behind and what a blow it is to the rebellion. Like, sure, they're bigger than he thought, they're still, just surviving by the skin of their teeth at all times.
They're not that big.
When leaving the planet in his X-Wing, he starts shooting down some TIE fighters. And that's when he sees the Executor as one of the ships and realizes that Sienna could have been in one of those TIE fighters and could have been killed.
Yeah.
And he's like, wow.
That's kind of the risk you have to take.
This is complicated now.
On
the Executor, Sienna's confused about everything. You see, some time has passed, and the Executor is just chasing this one ship called Millennium Falcon, and they're just sending TIE after TIE out, and they're just all getting smashed. She's thinking about all the damage they're taking just to get this one ship, and doesn't understand it. But after her like rotated session, she goes to the analysis booth and looks over the Battle of Hoth, because she wants to try and learn the rebels' weaknesses, try and work out what their strengths are, try and work out a tactic to defeat them. She notices a walker getting knocked down, and she notices the flying. It reminds her of back home, the mountains of Jellican. From this one clip, she's like, oh my gosh, Thane is a rebel now.
Oh no.
Corona Squadron's moved to the Liberty, a Mon Calamari cruiser, meets some new recruits, including Kenzie, who was Sienna's roommate back from the academy. And she's getting friendly. She's like, yo, party with Beach has come to rebellion.
Nice.
And Thane's like, I look at you and I see Sienna, and I do not want to.
Oh no, that's not
and
good.
And Kenzie's like, look, I get she's a space Nazi and all, but she also reported you died on Jelkan. Like, she reported you killed yourself because you couldn't live with the Death Star being destroyed, not anything else.
Huh.
He's like, oh, that's weird, because that's what she told me she was going to do. But she's still a space Nazi, so let's get drunk in the engine room.
But just a small pause happens where they both just look at each other and then, yeah, but she is still space Nazi, so let's get drunk.
Yeah. So everyone's gone to bed, but Thane's still there drinking. He's getting completely sloshed.
He's getting turned up
by Sienna, and when he's completely gone, he's walking through a ship, and it all seems to have moved. Like, this isn't the same layout early. He's sure, and he walks into this lady. She helps him up. It's described as she pours him into a chair, and he then proceeds to empty his whole life story on her. The next day, he's caught at a briefing, and in front of a briefing room is the woman who we ran into last night, Mon Mothma herself.
No way. My guy literally.
He just emptied his whole life story.
My guy trauma dumped to Mon Mothma.
But we have this cool little cave we used to go into, and I had brought an Xbox, and she brought a rock, and it's okay. It's okay.
It's alright. It's alright, son. It's okay. And now she's a space Nazi, and we had sex once, and it was good, and the world turned upside down.
I mean, I thought it was good, but then she threatened to report me, so maybe it wasn't. But also, she said I died, so maybe she thought she was bad. I don't know.
Honestly, I really sympathise with this man, because his life has been very confusing up until now. It's kind of been a bit of a roller coaster for him. At least Sienna has had some consistency, shall we say, but he's just been kind of all over the place, bless him.
They get briefed. Corona Squad is staying for Liberty, and the rest of the team go, but Mon gets Thane to stay behind, and she's like, it's fine to love someone on the other side, as long as you love what you're fighting for more.
As long as you love me more.
That's when Fane realizes he doesn't actually know what he's fighting for. Like,
Ooh.
he doesn't like the Empire's, what the Empire are about, but at the same time, he doesn't really have any convictions himself besides thinking they're bad.
Hmm.
Meanwhile, Sienna is on Bespin. She thinks it's beautiful. She's like, wow, it's such a dupe thing, but she always spoke about the statistics of Tabana mining, but never about how nice it is to look at. And
Hmm.
her and Nash were tasked with disabling the hyperdrive from the Millennium Falcon.
How is Nash doing, by the way? I know this is kind of like a tangent, but like, is he
He's
is he
fully
okay?
committed. He's fully
Oh
committed
no.
to the Empire.
Uh.
So yeah, they're disabling the hyperdrive from the ship, this hunk of junk. She's like, but the crew are already prisoners. Why are we doing this? And then Nash starts making moves, maybe, and she's a bit weirded out. But they go back to the executor, and the Falcon takes off. Some of her prisoners escaped. Oh no, it's gonna leave, and it just circles back and goes back to Bespin for some reason, and it comes back out into space, and we're like, okay, here it is. We disabled the hyperdrive. We're gonna get them. And the Falcon goes to hyperspace, and Admiral Piet, who's like the leader of the fleet, Nash, and Sienna all like freeze up and look at each other, and Vader's just standing behind them, and they're like, this is where we die.
Vader is just looming behind them.
And Vader just turns around and leaves without saying a word.
Oh, thank God.
Sienna starts asking people why someone would turn to rebellion. And this
Hmm.
is when Nash is like, oh, it doesn't matter, you have friends here, and gets really close. And it's like, maybe we
Uh.
could get friendly in your cabin. She's like, thanks, but no thanks. And she
Oh
goes
my
back to her
guy.
room and gets a holo. She's like, oh, who's this from? It's from her dad. Great, it's weird of him to message, but it's probably fine.
I'm guessing it's not fine.
And her mum is on trial for
Oh
embezzling
my
money.
God. Fucking hell.
So she goes up to her superior and she's like, I need some leave to go home. Like, I know I'm meant to leave my past behind me, but it's a religious thing. Like, in the valley, when someone's honor has been questioned, you place a flag outside the house and have someone from your family standing outside the house at all times to show your support.
Damn.
Because of this, she needs to go back to the valley to like show her support. It looks like your mum worked for the Imperial Mines. Like, are you doubting the Imperial Court's verdict? And she's like, no, but I'm sure there's more to this.
Mm.
And he's like, okay, you can go, but you need to report back to me what your verdict is, your own verdict from this.
Jeez. I could never do this like loyalty and honor thing. I don't like my family enough for that.
Meanwhile, Corona Squadron has grown. It's got Countessa, who's the leader, Yendor the Twi'lek, Thane, Kendi, and Smikes, and they're working under General Riken. They're currently tasked with checking Dakar for an Imperial facility, because apparently the Empire is mass moving resources in a weird way. Although nothing is found, Thane notes it as a potential base for later on.
Can you even imagine that? I mean, it sounds stupid to me. Would never happen.
Yeah, you're probably right. Anyway, back on the ship, Kendi tells Thane, Sienna did say you were dead, like, we kind of glossed over that, but isn't it weird that she broke her oath? And Thane tries to explain to her, how sacred promises are and, the kind of balancing your honor and that kind of thing. And Kendi just didn't get it, so Thane went away for some alone time.
I don't get it.
I mean, who does get it, really? Sienna's making some
She's
weird
making some
choices.
bullshit choices.
I'm not saying that religions or military are bad, but moving on, Jellican has changed even more. So the shantytown is bigger, and people are forced to wear masks now due to pollution. Sienna goes to her house, and there are no flags or people outside, and her dad explains that although people know that it's unlikely Sienna's mum did this, their loyalty to the Empire now outweighs their loyalty to each other.
Oh God.
So it's between her and her dad alone to just stand this vigil for her family's honor. And as they're doing this, they hear a flag placed outside. Like, yes, she runs the door and opens it, and Fane's there. And Fane remembered the custom that Sienna told her in their childhood, and he heard the news through the holocoms. But Sienna, like, turns him down. She doesn't want to owe him anything. Her dad's like, no, you can stay, come in. Heir has to go to work, so Fane and Sienna are taking times. But they eventually decide that it's pointless because no one else planted the flag. Like, no one's keeping track of if we're here or not. So they go to Darwin's old ship.
Oh, he's back.
He's back. Well, his ship is. But they start flying it around, and they play this game to decide who goes first. It's called Lizard Toad Snake. It's basically rock paper scissors, But can you tell me in Lizard,
Oh,
Toad, Snake
I
what
like
tops
this.
what?
So we got a lizard, a toad, and a snake. I think that the snakes can swim, right? Oh, but so can some lizards. I think that the lizard could eat. No, hang on, no. I think the snake could
Mm-hmm.
eat the toad. I think the toad could best the lizard because it can jump
Interesting.
away from it.
And
So that means then that the lizard would beat the snake because it can run really fast.
you are completely right somehow. I
What?
don't
No
understand
way!
how you got that, but yep, that is exactly the logic they use. So, but they fly around for a bit. It's like old times. They land, and they're strangers to each other.
What?
But Sienna starts going towards a fortress, and Fame follows. This is when Sienna turns, like, "You joined the rebellion. How could you do that? They're terrorists. They killed Jude."
Oh.
Fame's like, "Whoa, whoa, we're not terrorists. If anyone's a terrorist, it's Palpatine himself, because he rules by terror."
I mean, my guy isn't wrong.
So they're talking about this, and it's obvious that like neither can convince the other to change side. So we just start kissing, and we fade to black again.
Oh. Is this a sexy fade to black or is it just a regular fade to black?
It's always a sexy fade to black.
Yo! Nice.
Thane talks about the rebel leaders, and Sienna's shocked because Thane has faith in these leaders, and she's never seen him respect any authority figure before. And
That's the mood.
although Sienna can see the bad in the Empire, she says it also has its good, and it helps more worlds than it harmed. Probably after it's already harmed them bits, create
I
a bad
mean,
economy that they can then come in and save.
did she not go back and see her homeworld? Or
She's there right now. In fact, the next
I
day,
mean,
she goes to her mum's trial, and her mum's found guilty in a sentenced to labour in the mines.
oh
And
god.
it's a punishment was previously outlawed a century ago. It's really archaic. She starts to
Oh,
complain, but her dad tells her off for it. It's like, we do not betray our word, even when it betrayed us in return. Otherwise, we are no better than they are.
these people have issues.
Anyway, Sienna goes back to the executor, and her captain is like, he's like, was justice done? And she's like, yes.
God.
He's just sticking her fingernails into her hand when she says it.
Oh. Time's starting to turn though, I think.
Her captain is like, I see a promotion in your near future. Your loyalty to the Empire is quite startling.
Startling is the word for it, yes.
Thane goes back to Corona Squad, and he instantly goes up to General Raiken and is like, look, I'm gonna be honest. Just went and slept with my girlfriend. She's an Imperial. And everyone's like, what? What? What?
My guy just wanted everyone to know that he has sex.
Yeah, Yendo's like getting up in Thane's face, like, how could you do that? How could you betray us? And Thane just puts his hands up, and the line is, in the universal gesture that meant on every planet, hey man, simmer down.
Oh, that's cute.
They go to the new rebel base on a planet so obscure it's only known as 5251977. And it's here that Thane's like, look, even though she's an Empire, we have this kind of thing. Like, she won't betray us. I won't betray her, so don't even try. But look, this is kind of shady, but you did come right here and just tell everyone that you went to see her. Like, you didn't try and hide it, so we kind of respect you for that.
Yeah,
Like, we trust
that's
you
fair.
still. And on this new base, Thane is excited to see a familiar ship, the Moa.
Oh,
That's right, his old crew are now part of the Alliance.
hell yeah.
Back on the Executor, staff are allowed more time off currently because the ship was in hyperspace on its way to its new destination. Sienna didn't want to relax because she didn't want to be left with her thoughts, so she just did training hollows and let her anger consume her.
Oh no.
The Executor finally arrived at this place called the Hundala system, home to a ring planet known as Hardala, and looking out, she saw almost the entire Imperial Starfleet, so knew that something was up. And it's at this point they asked for recruits to go in TIE fighters and check out something. And Sienna instantly volunteered. She's like, I need to get out of here. I can't be left with my thoughts.
Yeah.
I will go do this action. And she goes down to the hangar, and also there are Nash and a couple of other pilots. And they've sensed life signs in the ring. Everyone gets in their ties, but Piet holds Sienna back. It's like, look, it's probably rebel spies. I have a secret mission for you. You need to make sure one of those fighters escapes. And she's a bit confused. Like, if they're rebels, why are we letting them go? Like, what are we doing here? But she listens and she goes up. Batailles flying towards the asteroid rings, and suddenly 5 X-wings start flying towards them. She like, knows they have to let one of them go, but she also notices that like her TIE pilots are too good to not kill these guys, so she has to do something. She puts a message out on an open frequency saying, "Hey ships, identify yourselves. This is an Imperial patrol. Please let us know who you are and what you're doing here." And Nash is like going to block for easy escape vectors, and she's like, one of these ships has to get out. And that's when a reply comes from the open channel: "This galaxy isn't big enough." And of course, it's Corona Squadron.
It'd be them.
So Sienna's new goal is trying to work out which ship Thane is.
Oh god.
He's a really good flyer. It's obvious.
Oh, okay.
And she has to get
Mystery
him out of
solved.
here.
I thought that was going to be like a
Sadly,
big...
it's obvious, and Nash has a thing for Sienna, and Thane broke Sienna's heart, faking his death and then joining for rebellion.
Nash, my guy.
So Nash is on a death wish.
Oh no.
Sienna is trying her best to get rebels out of here, and Nash is on like the open channel as well. He's like, "Thane Kyrell, you're alive." They're like, "Hello, old friend." I was like, "I thought you were dead. You would have been better that way."
Ooh.
They get into a big dogfight, and Nash is flying after. Thane realizes that Nash is just after him, so he flies away to give the other ships time to escape. But Sienna wants him to survive, so this is very confusing.
Yeah.
So she just like flies in front of his line of fire to try and block him. That doesn't stop Nash. She just keeps shooting right past her. But Thane manages to get away. They get back to the ship, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, he's gonna know that something was up there. I would have failed my secret mission, and Piet's gonna like give me another demerit." And Nash comes out, storms towards her, and hugs her. He's like, "Look, Thane should have been your kill. I can't imagine how angry you should have been.
Oh.
I should have stepped back and let you get that.
Bro.
I'm sorry." The Executor jumps into hyperspace along with the rest of the fleet, and they arrive just above a green moon. And in the distance, Sienna sees, what could it be? Another Death Star? Not in my Star Wars galaxy.
Surely not. A second Death Star?
And like she looks at it and she's like, her faith is a lost cause at this time. She's like, I can't believe I made another one. And Maurice is like, I can't believe they never made another one that quickly.
Yeah, it's true.
Like all her friends are like really hype about another Death Star. Like, oh, the other one works so well. And like they line up in the Death Star, and she can tell that everyone else in there is just terrified.
Yeah.
And suddenly a Lance cluster lands. Who gets out but Palp himself?
No.
And like she looks at him, and he looks nothing like he does in the Hollows. Like in the Hollows, he's a charming, sexy kind of old man. In reality, he's like saggy skinned and
Hey, hang on.
grey.
Hang on. We don't shame people here, Sam.
Fair.
You leave
But-
Sheep alone.
He looks like Chief Palpatine
He looks.
after the lightning.
He looks like Sheep Palpatine.
That's the way to describe him.
Yeah,
That Chief Palpatine truly looked like Chief Palpatine.
truly. Cannot be imitated.
Thane gets back, and Thane is like, look, the only reason all those ships would have got together is this, like, a show of strength for someone important. That many ships, that was most of the fleet. That could only mean the Emperor's on the move somewhere. If we can get him while he's off Coruscant, we can win this war.
Ooh.
They go to a briefing, and they find out about the second Death Star. It's briefing, they're like, okay, so the ground unit will be led by General Han. And Thane is like, who's Han?
Who the fuck is this guy?
And the space battle will be led by General Calrissian. He's like, who's Calrissian? Where did these guys come from?
Whose names are these?
I've been working for the last 3 years here. Where's my promotion? These guys just come in from nowhere, just instantly get promoted. It's not fair.
No, it's not. It's not fair at all, actually.
So they go to Endor, battle starts, and it becomes obvious to Thane very quickly that it's a trap. He notes that fighting like there's nothing to lose makes rebels stronger.
Mm.
The shields finally drop down, and all the ships rush towards the second Death Star, and Thane shoots down a few TIEs. He's happy to think that at this point Sienna is too senior to be in one of them, even though he literally just saw her in one of them
I mean-
the other day. And as it turns out, Sienna was in a TIE.
Oh, great. Did she get shot down?
She was just looking. She was on autopilot looking for anything to distract her. She like hated her life at this point. She like saw the Executor crash into the Death Star, and she's like, "This is a lost cause, but I have to serve the Empire, otherwise I break my vow." She saw the A-wing fly into its bridge, and she is about to do exactly the same thing on a Mon Calamari cruiser, when suddenly all Imperial ships are called to a rendezvous. And she sees rebel ships also flying away, and she realizes the second Death Star is about to blow up.
Oh God.
She manages to survive the first shockwave, but then the second one hits her and everything fades to black.
This isn't a sexy fade to black. We should specify.
It's always a sexy fade to black. But no, this one isn't a sexy fade to black, unless you like character death.
Unless you're into that. Wait, is she dead?
On Endor, all the rebels are celebrating.
Wait, no.
In fact, Kendi is.
Hang on. You can't do this to me.
It could be sequel bait. You don't know.
That's true. This is Star Wars.
On Endor,
Nobody's
the
really
rebels
dead.
were celebrating, and Kendi is dancing with Lando because he will dance with anyone.
Hell yeah.
Not a knock on Kendi, just
a knock on Lando.
In canon, Lando dances with like multiple people in this night. Thane sees the debris falling and is like hoping against hope that Sienna's still alive. Then he hopes that the New Republic will be half as good as Rebels claim to be. It's like, we've won the war, let's hope the politics are good. Sienna woke up to find a large piece of metal in her chest and Nash by her side.
Oh dear.
The line is, she was grateful for the gloves that they wore, as that meant he couldn't actually touch her.
I mean, that's kind of brutal.
She gets a message to her dad and like a secret code that she knows he'll know if Thane goes there. To like let him know that she finally sees how evil the Empire are.
Finally, girl.
But like sadly, Nash refuses to send this message because he's like, no, I'm not taking any last words from you. You're gonna get through this. She goes to surgery and wakes up with Nash, of course, by her side. Her liver had to be removed. Like, she's very messed up.
Oh, geez, her liver? Oh no.
You need months of Bacta therapy to grow a new one. And it turns out that when they found her, her uniform was in such disrepair that they just took it off and burnt it.
Yeah.
And of course, in her uniform was her sister's bracelet.
Oh, fuck.
And she now has to mourn her sister a second time.
That's not good.
At this point, she's in bed. She's dreaming that her plan worked and she crashed her starfighter in battle and just it would all be over.
Fuck no.
She's sent to a space station called the RAF to rehabilitate, but like she's not relaxing. She's signing for any job that she can. She just wants to keep busy, just live life as a drone. She doesn't even really want to be alive anymore, but her honor won't let her do anything about it.
God.
But like she has to go. One of the jobs she does, she goes through the Imperial records and she has to find who deserted and who's dead. And if they're dead, send messages home. If they're deserters, send it to the ISB so they can start tracking them down. And she's taking like a minor victory here, but she is spending a lot more time writing letters home, trying to say nice things to these people and give them solace, instead of getting her comrades hunted down and killed.
Yeah.
She goes to a bridge one day, and like the Grand Moff, who is in charge of her currently, Grand Moff Rand, is really pleased with her. He's like, "Wow, you're a shining example of what an Imperial should be. Like, you were shot down, but you just went straight back to work. We're giving you a Star Destroyer for the next
Fucking
battle.
hell.
It's cool for Implicator." And like, her instant reaction is she can't believe it. Under 25, she's already got command of a Star Destroyer. This is what she used to dream of. Then her second thought is, wow, the Empire is really in such disrepair that it needs to promote someone like me. And it gets better.
They must be truly desperate.
Because Moff Rand's like, and I think you know you're second in command. Nash Windrider.
Oh no. Nash.
And she's told to report a planet called Jakku, where the Empire will finally defeat the rebels.
Oh no! Why does everyone want to go back to Jakku?
So Thane and Corona Squadron at this time are on Naboo.
Let's get out of the way.
World, and it was a regular target. At this point, the New Republic set up a Senate on its own worlds. They've kind of left Coruscant to its own thing. They don't need it. And it's amazing. The senators are only there if they're elected by their people.
What?
Legislations are being passed.
What?
And news reports on the Hollow are allowed to argue whether these legislations are right or not. It's insane. People can finally speak their opinions.
Madness.
And he decides that, it's very likely that Sienna died during Endor. So in the Valley tradition, he's wearing a blue ribbon on his arm, the colour of the sky, because on Jellicum they do these things called sky burials. He has to wear this band for a year, and like he doesn't know when she died, but he's assuming Battle of Endor. A year after that, he will take this band off, and it will...
A whole year?
Her probably. Yep.
Damn.
But 4 days after the anniversary, he's still wearing it, as the Battle of Jakku had been planned for. He's like, Battle of Jakku, this is when either will be destroyed or the Emperor will be destroyed once and for all. After this, I can take it off. Him and Kendi were tasked to lead an infiltration to capture a Star Destroyer. As they had Imperial training, they knew the layout of these things. The Star Destroyer they're going to be taking over is called the Implicator.
Great.
When Sienna saw she was boarded, she, of course, did what she promised all those years ago and set the ship to self-destruct,
Yeah.
letting her bridge crew go. The countdown finished, but the self-destruct didn't start.
Well, what did she say she would do?
She starts putting the ship into a dive because she can't let the Star Destroyer fall to rebel hands. And she's kind of at peace, you know. She's like, you know what? After this, it will be over. I can rest. She does like a voice over comms, being like, all hands, please evacuate. We're going to be crashing into the surface soon. Have fun. Thane hears this and recognizes the voice. Kenzie doesn't. She's like, we have to go. They're going to crash into the planet. And he's like, no, no, you go. Get everyone off. I have to do something. And he goes to the bridge, runs there, but he can't open it because it can only be opened by the captain's special code word. And Thane knows the captain fairly well, so says,
he does.
Look through my eyes.
Oh.
And the ship door opens. When Sienna turns around, she originally assumes that Thane is a vision. You know, like, he's even wearing the, like, memorial band from her valley people, and she's like, I'm just hallucinating. But as he comes closer, she no, no, he's really here, and starts backing away. He says that he won't leave without her. At this point, they're bound together for good or bad. And he's like, you know, that force thing you believe in, that's connecting us. And she does come towards him and just hits him in the chest, grabs his gun,
goes
to stun him. Sadly, he's too fast, and he just kicks her like that from under her. She falls, drops the gun. The planet's surface looms closer. It's fun because when they first met, they were fighting to protect each other, and now they're fighting each other to try and get each other to survive. Sienna wants to like stun Thane and take him to an escape pod, and then just get him out and finally have her death. Thane wants to escape with her, and Thane manages to grab the gun, turn, stun Sienna, and gets the escape pod out just in time. Like, the Star Destroyer is basically up in the surface at this point.
God.
So it doesn't have a recommended time to, like, you know, fall just instantly into the ground. Pretty rough. She's obviously damaged, so he takes off his band, ties it around his bandage, gets out and starts, you know, trying to hail down some New Republic support. Eventually, some New Republic officers arrive. They come to give medical attention. Like, no, no, her first. She needs it more. And they go to her, and they slap some cuffs on her because she's a high-ranking Imperial officer in full Imperial garb, and it's time for her to be tried for her war crimes.
War crime arc, let's go.
This is the epilogue now.
Oh, really?
It's an unknown amount of time later, and Thane visits Sienna in prison for the first time.
Ooh.
He realizes that the death she wanted would have been a way out, of like escaping the Empire, but keeping her honor, you know, not letting anyone down. And he asks, "You're glad to be alive, aren't you?" And she just replies, "It's too early to tell."
Yeah, she's got some
her
problems.
oath to the Empire, in her mind, still stands, so she doesn't want to give up information.
Jeez.
But Thane's like, look, even if you don't give up information, you'll be let out soon. She's like, no, no, I'll be executed. Like, if this was the Empire, I would be executed. They're gonna execute me. He's like, no, no, no. Like, do you know how many people in the galaxy were Imperials? Like, even high-ranking Imperials. That's hundreds of billions of people.
Too many people to execute. Come on now.
Like they're not gonna kill you. And he says that number doesn't include all the troops that vanished into nowhere for the rest of the Imperial fleet. He's like, look, when you're out, I'll be waiting for you. And Sienna's like, you shouldn't. And he just replies, you would if it was me in that cell. And she's like, yeah, I would.
Yeah, I would, mate.
And that's the last we see of Thane and Sienna.
That's the last we see of them.
Meanwhile,
Ooh.
in the Quelhar Nebula, Nash now has command of his own attack cruiser.
Oh no.
And he has new ties with guns that can pierce shields that were designed by Zed. His laser cannon expertise have paid off.
Oh no! Finally, it's all paying off for him.
He's like going through commendations. He's like, you know, he wants to get a commendation for Sienna. She died in honor, and she deserves a distinguished medal for that. But Lieutenant Kyrell doesn't believe it, so that's right. Dalvin Kyrell is back. Thane's brother is now working under Nash.
No.
He's like, look, she was a puny little girl on the planet. Like, do you really need to give her a distinguished medal? And he's like, look, she was the bravest Imperial I ever met. She deserves the distinguished medal. You don't know her.
He's simping so hard right now. It's not even
And
funny.
that's the end of Lost Stars.
Oh, interesting. That's a lot more of like a not happy ending than I thought it was gonna have. I
Yep.
thought it was gonna have either a tragic ending or a happy ending. I didn't think it was gonna be that kind of like it's it. I don't know how to describe it. It's not happy and it's not a sad ending. It's just like
It's an ending.
an ending. It's an ending. It's very very bold. I think actually to do it
Yep.
like that to end up with you know she doesn't really she never really relinquishes her loyalty to the
Mhm.
Empire. She never does.
Yep.
Very interesting because I was like waiting for her to for like you know it to
That's like
click
the
with her.
hard thing with this book. It gets to like
Yeah,
2/3 of the way in, and at this point, she hates the Empire. She feels defeated, but they just won't let her quit. She's locked into it by her faith. And when you think she's
yeah.
about to leave, her dad says a thing about we can't betray them because if we betray them, we're no better than them. And in a weird way, serving the
Which is
Empire is the
bullshit,
one
Dad.
thing she has over the Empire at this point.
Jeez, that's that's a whole thing. Honestly,
What did you think of your first Star Wars book?
I really liked it. I thought it was really good. It was a lot more complicated than I thought it was going to be.
I thought it'd be a good starting place because it like is a recap of the OT, and we're going to be spending a lot of time in
It
this
is.
era.
Oh yeah. And also as well, it has a well, you know, it came out before The Force Awakens, so it kind
Mhm.
of does have that little tie as well.
Yep.
And you got to wonder, like, do these characters show up again in any other media? I don't know if that's a spoiler or not.
Some of them do, but not the ones you'd expect. Like I said, Faye and Sienna are yet to show up anywhere else.
Damn. I hope they do. That I would like to
Mhm.
see. You know, I'd like to see Sienna be happy.
This was
You
also
know.
the first Star Wars book I read, so I haven't seen these characters for like
Oh my
six
God.
years.
Jeez.
We'll never know what
Must be
happened.
really tough. No. I hope we do know what happened.
Luckily, Claudia Grey just continues to like throw out banging book after banging book. Like she's one of the best Star Wars authors.
I have heard of her, yeah. I know she did she write some I think she wrote some like Leia stuff.
Yep, a
Am I
lot of
thinking of
Leia
the right
stuff.
person? Yeah. I think I've heard of those. Um I hadn't heard of this one, but this one was really, really good.
Mhm. It's very young adult, and it knows it's young adult, and it just plays into all the tropes.
Yeah.
And I
But
kind of
again,
respect it for that.
it does as well. It does tackle some mature stuff as well. It
Hmm.
doesn't kind of feel like a YA book. It doesn't, you know, it's not one of those YA books that treats like a teen audience as like little kids.
Yep.
Effectively, it gives them some real stuff to like go into.
Hmm. For
Yeah, I
sure.
really liked it.
I'm not sure if you could tell, but especially at the end, it does get choppier and choppier as it goes on.
Yeah, you're
And
kind of
like
jumping around a lot of places.
it moves faster and less happens. That makes sense?
Mm, yeah, I wasn't expecting Nash to end up like he did. I
Yeah.
feel very bad about Nash. I don't know. I know that he kind of ends up being like a bit of a shitty dude, really, but like I just I can't help but think of like the trauma playing a
Yep.
massive part in anything that he does. I just
Hmm.
feel quite bad for the dude actually, really. And like he doesn't have closure. Well, he thinks she's dead, but he doesn't have like, you know, the closure of being able to see her again.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yet.
sucks. Well, yes, yeah, that's true. We don't know what's happened to these
Again,
characters.
like this kind of book is in a weird place because it was written before they knew where the sequels would be going, really.
Yeah,
So a lot of these books do build to places which are just like never explored yet. When Lost Star 2 comes out, we will jump on it fairly quickly.
even
But it's
Lost
like,
the Stars.
how do you do a sequel to this though?
Yeah, that's very
Do you
interesting.
continue
Because,
with Thane and Sienna, or do you like introduce
mm,
a new pair uh of stars from the sequel trilogy?
yeah.
And
Thing is, I would
with the
like
way
to
the
see
First
more of
Order
Thane and Sienna,
works,
I think.
hmm
I would like to see more of them, so I think that would be good.
yeah,
I'd like to see another book that's like this for the sequel era with another like set of protagonists. I think that would be cool.
hmm
Um, I would like if they did a second one of this. I think I'd like them to pick up with them because I feel like there's a lot there to work with, for sure.
yep, for sure.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I just want things to kind of work out for Sienna. She's had a bit of a time.
we've been recording for longer than I expected. So before we go, I think I am okay to say that when we next talk, we're going to be looking at not one but two comic book trades,
Two! Oh my god, that's gonna be
and
fun.
that leads into our question, which is a bit different. You see,
Okay.
there are four comic trades we're going to be looking at fairly shortly, and three of them are collected in a book called Heroes for a New Hope.
Hmm.
This is a question for the audience. I'm going to ask you to answer at the beginning of the next episode. Out of these four books, which one is one which isn't collected in this collection? So the books are a comic for Leia called Princess Leia, a comic
Mm-hmm.
for Chewbacca called Chewbacca,
Is that the theme?
a comic for Lando called Lando, and a comic for Han called Han Solo.
Wait, so okay, hang on. Just 1 second. So three of these are all in a collection and one of them just randomly isn't. Is that what I'm getting here?
Yep, and you have Princess Leia, you have Chewbacca, you have Lando, and you have Han Solo. Like, there's not even a consistent naming convention to them.
No.
Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this first episode of Crashing the Starfighter, and we'll hopefully see you next time.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Farewell, everyone.
Bye. If you want to answer a question for yourself or have any feedback for us, don't hesitate to get in contact. You can email us at crashingthestarfighter@gmail.com, or you can find us on Instagram at crashingthestarfighter, one word.